second of Lou. I see it. I'm a second of Lou. Let's thank you and them Haddock. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted, I'm not well versed or versed at all in African spirituality, but I just wanted to say I feel like the way that you approached him about it in terms of how you're talking about young wisdom versus old wisdom, I feel like it's a lot of different ways to think about it. Because also too is also like, I felt like you were dismissing him, you know, when he was saying personally just listening to it go back and forth. But at the end of the day, I feel like with Nipsey Hussle, like how he said he was meeting people where they were. So in our environment that we're growing up in now, even though his past is he was gang banging,
His present. He was gang banging until he died.
and his present was that he was gang banging and engaging in these, what we may say, illegal activities. I feel like that's the culture that we exist in now, and because he lived it and he's being it, that's how he has to address who we are. Because in order for us to understand, it's not necessarily saying that's what he has to engage in, but it's a different way for us to change our perspective because that's what he lived. That's who he is.
Let me jump in, sis. And he was only for who he was for. He's the example for who he's an example for. So there are plenty of people out there that are gang banging right now that understand the gang bang culture who will only listen to somebody who is of that culture. And so for those people, he was the perfect example for them. Now, if you are Catholic, and you're on your way to becoming the next pope, then he's not for you. He's for who he's for. And you can't take nothing away from that. It's somebody whose life will be extended because he was shown to live the way he did. He influenced who he influenced, and he will continue to, but it's only for certain people, not for everybody, in case I wasn't clear about that. And again, for the record, I don't glorify gang banging. I know it's very destructive. I know when it's destructive, it is destructive. And at the same time, though, I know, again, that nothing has a property in and of itself. It's always how it relates to other things. Always. Yes, sir. I see you, sir.
Can you speak to the nature of why Nipsey Hussle was being murdered so much before his death?
Say it again. I'm sorry, say that again.
I was saying, can you speak to why Nipsey Hussle had to be exposed that he had before he died, as far as like the whole GQ shoot he had? He was a cool. I feel like, as far as we're talking about media now, especially, it's essentially being put out, and his message that he was disseminating doesn't really click with something that white America would want us to hear.
Like the Wall Street Journal or like Puma or right. And so right. And so I've heard people talk about the fact that they were seeding. Right? Seeding meaning as in planting thoughts or the beginning early stages of thoughts and recognition in the people. So that when he did die, this is if his death was a plan of somebody else being orchestrated, all right? If that's the theory, we're going to follow right now. So if that's the case, then he was being seeded before he was going to be murdered in order that you would already be familiar with. It's called the priming effect, right? You can prime people to feel more familiar and more affiliated and more affinity to something by giving them exposure to it, whether they realize they're being exposed to it or not. And then that way you can take advantage of what they were primed for later on by showing it again in a different light. So for example, if I showed you, if like between here and wherever you're going next, I just put like a Murder King sign here and there as you're walking. And then you get back to your dorm, you're like, yeah, man, what y'all gonna eat? You're more likely to say, man, I got a taste for some Murder King. You follow? So that's the priming effect. It kind of puts those seeds in your head, and then it can set you up later. So that might be what it was, if in fact that's what happened. And it's real, it happens all the time. It's a true psychological principle. It's a tool used in marketing all the time. Yes, ma'am. I guess this will be the last one.
Mine is just more so a statement of just understanding the fact of just bringing it to like a religious standpoint of, well, no matter what, your life is already planned out before you're born. So it's like, at the end of the day, certain things that mom taught me is like, you disrespect your elders, your days are cut short, things like that. But however, the moment you're born, like it's already determined the day you're gonna die. So it's like what you do in that in between stages, it's like it's already let out in your path. So it's like these things are already, like your future is already shaped. So like everything is ingrained in that, like how you're gonna affect certain people, how you're gonna impact the world, how you're gonna change, like the wrong you do, the right you do, and just taking all of this into account with the African
Spiritual traditions.
The spiritual traditions and things like that, just like relating it back to everything in our life is gonna happen for a reason. I feel like God planned out everything accordingly. So I feel like all of that is just intertwined, and you can definitely see both parts. So things gonna happen the way it's gonna happen regardless.
And so, yes, so again, that's a very valid perspective as well. And one way I heard it that you made me think about as you said that, is somebody once told me that you only have a certain number of breaths that you can take in your life. And so, and that's when I was becoming a yoga instructor. And they was telling me that's why breath control is stressed in many spiritual traditions. You're supposed to breathe slow and breathe deep. Why? Because it slows down your rate of breathing, therefore prolonging your life, not only the physiological health benefits, but also the fact that you are not taking as many breaths per day as you would if you weren't having a regulated breathing, right? And so it's in line with the same thing. But again, there are other perspectives that say that you are in control of your destiny and how you live. You can make a choice here at this crossroad and it can lead you down there, or you can make a choice at this crossroad and it'll lead you down here. And then there's something to say, if I choose and I end up going over here, that eventually somehow I'm gonna get right back on that path anyway. I might come back beat up, you know? There's a path that's clear, and there's a path that you're gonna go down that you gotta clear, and you ain't gonna have no machete to clear it. There's a path that you gotta clear, and you might have your machete, right? And so all of those things, and so again, there are many ways to look at it, and I personally feel that and think that what your belief is gonna help to create what your reality and your experience is gonna be. You know, because I mean, again, man with a capital M, woman with a capital W, you know, we have that divine essence within us. You know, and so we can go with that prescribed plan. You can make choices along the way and get off the path, whatever it is for you. But I leave room for all of it. You know, it's been a long time since our ancestors crossed over and came back, right? I mean, like I believe that in Kemet, they had folks who knew how to soul travel, and they would go into a deep state of trance. And from that deep state of trance, they was able to see what was on the other side. And they would come back and they would report on it. That's how they got those stories about how to travel in the doo-wah, right? And then that's what they call lucid dreaming now, where you can go to sleep. How many of y'all go to sleep and know you sleep while you sleep? The majority of people don't realize they were asleep until they woke up. The majority of people don't know that they're dreaming until what? They wake up. And then it's like, man, that dream was good, and you try to go back and you can't. I appreciate y'all. And oh, by the way, sister, my intention is not to be disrespectful, and I apologize wholeheartedly if I disrespected you in any way. Real talk.